What are you eating today? I got my friend Red OHearn, and he's kind of like Yule Gibbons from days gone by. You remember Yule Gibbons?
Yeah.
And Red's very good at identifying plants, and he would be a guy I'd be on the phone with if I couldn't get food, asking him what do I eat. And he knows all these plants, but first, well, I should tell you, we're on the Dakota Line Weeby property, and there's not much here in terms of vegetation. It's mainly gravel, and so this could be a challenge for Red. But before we start, you might be wondering why Red looks so tired. And he was up late last night. He was reading the book on anti-gravity, and he could not put it down. So anyway, Red, let's see what you can find for us to eat.
Okay, Mark kind of challenged me when we were here at the back door of the lumberyard. And I wouldn't probably really eat anything off the premises, not because it's got animals involved. It's probably been sprayed when the lumberyard was here. But he said, is there anything we can eat here? And just in this, like 12, 15 feet from the door, you've got three things that you can eat. You've got dandelions. Dandelions are really nutritious. They're good to help with your blood pressure. You can eat every part of the plant. You could dig the roots up and roast them and grind them into this coffee substitute. These are kind of a bitter green. They're very healthful. My grandma used to always go out and dig them because they're one of the first wild foods available, and she would always have 2 or 3 big batches of dandelion greens because she always called it a spring tonic because you've been eating potatoes and starchy food through the winter. So this helps cleanse your system out.
Would you eat that like lettuce?
Yeah, you can eat it like lettuce.
You could eat it right as it is.
Yeah, it's got a lot of you don't wash it unless it's really scroungy, but it's got a lot of small hairs on it that are very beneficial.
Huh.
I started making tea out of this last week because I'm still having trouble regulating my blood pressure, and it's supposed to be very good for your blood pressure.
Are you doing what your doctor says?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm under a lot of stress, Mark.
Good.
Okay, the second thing I saw.
I'm going to point out one thing, Red. Red he's very close to the land. I mean, he raises bees, and he's always been a trapper, and they can food and meat and everything. When we trapped together one fall, and he was always picking plants, and we'd eat them that night. He's a good cook too.
This right here, this is wild lettuce. There are 600 and some species of wild lettuce, and you can tell it's got these little spines on it, but it's also got a milky sap, and the sap was used as a painkiller in the past when there weren't pharmacies all over and pharmaceutical industry wasn't pumping out pills. This has a pain-killing effect, and I started last summer, and I've had hard jobs most of my life, worked in a packing house, been a professional trapper and a beekeeper. I've worked long hours, really strenuous, so I've had some aches and pains. I started collecting this and I dried it, and all last winter I would make a pot of tea with different wild clover. I had clover, I had wild lettuce in it, and this is supposed to be a painkiller. Well, I used to have a bum shoulder, my knees hurt, my wrists hurt. I don't have any aches and pains anymore, and I attribute that to taking this for about 9 months every day in tea.
Now, for nutrition, do you eat that like a salad?
You can, but I used it more as a dried herb. Just threw it in on a tray at home and let it dry. And what I was doing is, see the sap? I would gather the whole plant. Well, I'm not going to pull it. I'd pull the whole plant and I'd hang it upside down to dry in bunches. And then I thought the sap would drain into the leaves and I'd get more goodie out of it. And it seems to have worked. The next thing I noticed here was this plant right here. This is wild plantain. It's a broadleaf plantain, and it can be used. I've cooked it like collard greens, put smoked turkey tail or ham hock with it. Usually the smaller the leaves are, or the younger leaves of the plant are more tender because they get very fibrous when they're get bigger as they mature, I guess I should say. This is very medicinal. If you have a cut, you can cut or bug bites, you could smash this up or even chew it up and put it on the affected bug bite, and it'll really help ease the pain and help it heal.
It's good for like sunburns too, isn't it?
Yeah, you can take this and infuse it in olive oil. Just take a bunch of it and put it in a jar, cover it with oil. Olive oil is about one of the best. And then let it sit in dark for 6 weeks, and then strain it. And I put it on my skin because after 60 some years in the sun, I'm getting kind of old person skin, but as long as I put the oil on, it doesn't look bad, does it? That's the subjective question.
No, it looks all right. I mean, you're fair skinned, and so.
Yeah, I'm not 16. I'm not a spring chicken.
No, we're like 2 weeks apart in age.
Yeah, guess which one's older?
Yeah.
Now, do some people call this plantain?
They do call it. It's spelled the same, but a plantain is like a banana. Perhaps you watched Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Kramer had a guy where he got his plantains, but then he screwed up his connection.
yeah, I remember.
I gotta have my plantains.
Yeah, he was complaining about the fruit.
Yeah.
The guy cut him off.
Oh.
Joe's fruit.
Yeah.
So,
reminds me of Johnny Carson. He had Joe the Green Grocer. He said, went to Joe the Green Grocer. He said, what can I do to get my wife to have sex more? He said, try to take a couple of these spuds and smash it in the side of the head.
Smash it what?
Smash her in the side of the head with these 2 spuds.
I don't really get it, but it's funny, you know.
Yeah, that's before Me Too and all that crap.
Yeah, I should be like Ed McMahon and go, hi-yo!
You're right, sir.
Yeah.
Can you get up?
Oh yeah. Well, we've gone, like 10 feet, and he's identified 3 things I could eat in a crisis.
Yeah, and actually, if people would quit spraying their lawn and let it grow and not be so uptight about getting it mowed, there are lots of things in most people's lawn they could eat and be more healthy than what they're buying in the store.
But that dandelion tasted kind of good.
Yeah, Grandma's not usually wrong.
Oh, it's a lot better than that beaver tail he cooked last spring.
Hey, that was the best beaver tail I ever cooked.
It was brutal. Well, that's going to wrap up today, but I guarantee you I'll have Red on again sometime because he's always up to something in terms of, he hasn't had a normal job in years. He just is trapped, and even turtles, but all their food is coming off their efforts with the land. And
it's out there if you put in the effort.
Yeah.
It's out there and it's better for you, and you're not going to suffer from the shortages and the diesel fuel prices and having to have bland meals.
He's a great cook. So thanks, Red.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Weeby Knives, voted one of Field & Stream's best hunting products. Every Weeby knife comes with up to 24 wicked sharp replacement blades. After all, it's a Weeby. Order your Weeby knife today with up to 24 free replacement blades at WeebyKnives.com.